Good morning, NASCAR fans. Chris here with the Jägerbomb Fantasy Sports. Doing something a little different today. We've been doing live shows for the Cup Series all season. Changed it up a little bit on the road. I found a pocket where I can get on, talk some Xfinity Series going into today. The Xfinity Series and the Cup Series are in Austin, Texas this weekend at the Circuit of the Americas. So we go from two different super speedway races in Daytona and Atlanta to the first road course race of the season. So things are going to change a little bit in terms of strategy. So we'll talk about that. I didn't get a preview show done for all three, so that's why I decided to do this live show. So if you got any questions, make sure to jump into the chat, and we're definitely going to discuss it. We'll go over some picks. We'll go over some strategy. So I guess first of all, let's just look at some track history here. I'm just going to sort. There's been 4 races here at COTA in both series. So we'll look at here. Right at the top at the average finish, William Byron, 2023, finished second. Jesse Love finished sixth last year, so he comes in number 2. Harrison Burton's got a sixth place finish in 2021. Then we get a little bit of a consistency here. Sam Mayer, 9th, 7th, and 5th. In his three runs at COTA in the Xfinity Series, Austin Green's got a 7th last year. One that stands out to me, and we'll talk about him when I get into some of the picks as well, is Austin Hill. He's had 2 runner-up finishes in 2022 and 2024. Had some issues in 2023, ended up getting caught up in a crash. So I guess next we'll look at some road course history as well. Going to be very important here. So on the sheet this week, it is 2023 and 2024 road course history. We'll sort by average finish over that time period. Connor Zilisch, number 1, and going into today, he's not the most expensive driver. He's right behind William Byron, but he was fastest in practice, and he laid down a lap that was about a half second faster than anyone else. So he's super, super fast. He is definitely going to be my top pick if you're looking at the top tier of drivers here this week. He's won in his only road course start in the Xfinity Series as well. Sam Mayer really stands out in terms of road course history. You probably think I'm insane for not having him highlighted right now, but I'll kind of let you know why soon enough. So he's got 4 wins, 7 top 5s, and 10 top 10s in the 14 races in this sample size, and the DK average of 95.2. So he's done really, really good for fantasy purposes. Justin Allgaier's right there as well. Hasn't got a win, but he's been consistent. 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s. And then right below him, Austin Hill again, 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s in there as well. Justin Allgaier's even got some laps led, followed by Sam Mayer there if you're looking at that sort of data. All right. So looking at the practice and qualifying on the sheet here so far, let's look at the practice results first of all. We got Zilisch, Love, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, Nick Sanchez, Ross Chastain, Taylor Gray, Carson Koppel, totally said that wrong, Sam Mayer, Carson Hochever rounding out the top 10 in terms of practice, and you can see the qualifying on there as well. So while Atlanta and Daytona on the sheet last week, right beside the qualifying here, we had place differential plus kind of give us an insight into who maybe got the most upside in terms of place differential. We're not exactly looking for that here this week at Circuit of the Americas. So it's a qualifying and practice differential. So like you see a -9 here, that just means obviously that we're just looking at the qualifying, where they qualified versus how they ranked in practice. And anything in the minus, obviously in the green, is going to be a little bit positive. Obviously, it's going to tell you that where they're qualifying, they have a faster car versus where they're going to be starting the race. So it could be important for picking up some place differential points. And because we didn't go ahead and do a preview show this week, we'll go look at some track history and some data here at the bottom. So last year's race, Kyle Larson, which is the same car that William Byron is in today, he only led 1 lap. He only led the final lap of the race, but he did win from the pole. So he didn't get you those dominator points, and he probably, I don't have the exact lineup, the perfect lineup or the winning lineup in the GPPs or anything, but I don't assume that he would be in there, maybe in some smaller contests, because there were some drivers that were cheaper who had more points because they picked up either dominator points, place differential points, or what have you. So scrolling down, looking at the bottom, We looked at this last week, and what we looked at was the correlation. So the higher that correlation number, the more important it is to finish position is more important than say place differential points. So we had 0.289 last year. Scrolling over, we had 0.401, 0.492, and 0.569. So pretty high correlation. Um, Passing is obviously going to be tough on a road course, tougher than say Talladega, Daytona, Atlanta, like we've seen the last 2 weeks. And we kind of see that as well in terms of the place differential, double-digit place differential. There was 9 drivers last year, 9 the year before, 4 in 2022, and only 3 in 2021. So that just kind of goes to show you when we're building our lineups, we're not looking like for Atlanta, Daytona, where we were looking for at least 4 or 5 drivers that are going to give us big time place differential upside. We're more concentrating on where drivers are going to finish the race, and possibly in terms of, there's less laps. This race last year was 50 laps, 46. So there's a lot less laps to try and get those dominator points. So it's not going to be quite as important like you see here. AJ Allmendinger started 5th. He ended up finishing 10th, so he lost 5 points in terms of the place differential. He did lead 20 laps, which led the field, but he definitely fell outside of the winning lineup, the anything probably even inside the top 5, top 10 in terms of winning lineups on DraftKings last year. So that's kind of the way we're going to be going about constructing our lineups. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at a few of my favorite plays for today. I got Connor Zilic up top. He's starting on the pole. Like I said, he was about a half second faster than anyone else in practice. He's won his only Xfinity road course start, and that was, let me just jump over here a little bit. That was Watkins Glen last year. He started from the pole. He led 45 laps and gave us 68 DK points. I don't think we're going to see him lead that many laps today. There is a good chance he completely dominates. So over on the fantasy matrix here, I've got Zilic leading 25 laps. Let's even give him 10 fast laps. So that kind of puts us in a between 5 and 6x. And for a road course with less laps, we're probably looking for about 5x return for GPPs. If you can get anything more than that, I think that's great, but not like we were the last couple of weeks. We were looking at 6x returns, 7, 8x, depending on some of those large place differential upside guys. This week, I think we can definitely roster the guy in the poll, assuming he's going to lead a bunch of laps. And if he does, he's going to get us between 5 and 6x. If he was somehow to get up there in terms of the, let's just say 35 laps led, he's still, to get him into the 6x, you're going to have to be looking for about 40 laps, complete domination. He will most definitely be in the winning lineup or near the winning lineups if he comes with that, and I think he can definitely do that. So if we're taking Zilic, and this is just my strategy, if we're going to be loading up on him and think he's going to dominate, then I'm not really interested in the guys around him in terms of um, starting inside the top 5, because those guys aren't going to give you place differential. Those guys aren't going to give you dominator points if Zilic is going to lead all those laps. So I'm not really interested in this build in William Byron or Ross Chastain in the 9 or the 17 today. Okay, we got a question here. Who do you like to win the race? Well, my pick to win would just be Zilic again. He's been the fastest. He started on the pole. I think he dominates at least 25, 30 laps. Could possibly be even more and completely dominate the race. He's just been very good on these road courses, and I think he's going to duplicate that. If an outside winner, I guess, if I wasn't picking Zillis, would probably be Byron. We've seen Kyle Larson win in that 17 car last year, so that would be maybe my second pick. In terms of DFS going down the board here a little bit, Austin Hill is probably number 2 for me, maybe even number 1, just because he's 1,300 less than Zilic. He's starting 12th, so he gives you 11 more place differential upside points there. He's finished runner-up here twice. He's been very, very consistent. Hasn't got a win on the road courses over the last 2 years, but he's got 7, half of his races he's finished top 5, and 10 of those 14 were top 10 finishes as well. So he's right up there in terms of top overall scores. He's having a good start to the season as well. He just knows how to win. So coming from 12th, and we'll look at him on the fantasy matrix here too, just to kind of compare, because we said in terms of Zillich, he would need upwards of 40 to hit that 6x. And right now, with 25 laps led, 10 fast laps, to get that 5x return, we're looking at at least a second place finish from Zillich to hit fantasy value. So there's a little bit of risk there, because obviously if he finishes outside the top five, there's no way at his price that he's probably going to make the optimal lineup. Versus Austin Hill, if he wins the race, doesn't lead any laps, he's going to give you more than 6x return right off the bat. He's going to give you that 5x return with a top five finish. So he's finished runner up the last two races. So I'm kind of projecting him to finish between second and fifth. It's kind of where I have him, which gives us that 5x return. So from a fantasy perspective, that kind of makes him my favorite driver to roster for fantasy, but I'm still picking Zillich to win the race. And then the only other driver really in the 9K up range I'm looking at is Sheldon Creed. Caught up in a wreck here last year. He does give you those place differential upside. He has two top tens here, 2022 and 2023. Hasn't been as consistent as those other guys. Hasn't been as consistent as Sam Mayer. But I do like Sheldon Creed here today, starting 14th. I'm kind of looking at like a top five for him would be nice. A little bit, he didn't really show it in practice, so it's kind of a red flag, maybe a little bit, as the practice times they're down. But I think they can get it together and give you a top 10 finish. But it's realistically, from a points per dollar perspective, we're looking for a top five from him. So he would be like a low owned. And maybe he's not low owned because he is starting 14th. But if people are looking at the practice times, comparing the road course history, that sort of stuff, I think he may come in a little bit lower owned than a few of the other guys. So I'm kind of looking at that as well in that top tier. Is there anyone else that you guys like? Praise 3 Dale, thank you again for that question. Who's your pick to win the race? I guess is what I'm looking for. And who's your top DFS player in that top tier? Anyone? Throw it out there and let me know. And as we go down the board here, now I had a question in chat previously to this in the NASCAR chat in our Discord, and if you're looking to get in there, you can head over to our patreon.com/Jagerbombs, and you can get a NASCAR package. You can get a all sports package. We're covering up to 10 different sports right now. We've got about 3 or 4 coaches covering all these different sports right now, and we've got a cheat sheet that you can see here. We've got Snods, one of our other NASCAR coaches. He's got his ranks and his core up on a separate tab on the sheet as well. We're in there. We're talking about any news that's happening. We've got news channels. We've got our main NASCAR channel. But anyways, Jay Fasley in our chat asked, not highlighted on the sheet, but what do y'all think about Matt DiBenedetto here? Is he an okay pick? I am completely off of him for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to find him here on the sheet. Just give me just a second. He's number 121 overall ranked in my overall rankings right now. He's starting 22nd, so there is some place differential upside there. He hasn't raced in the Xfinity Series at this track, and he has just had terrible, terrible luck on road courses in the Xfinity Series over the last 2 years. He's had 5 races. His average finish is 26.4, average run of 27. So it's not like he's getting unlucky and getting caught up in crashes and has a high average run position, a low average run position and a high average finish position. He just hasn't had very much luck here at all, and I'm going to bring him up again. Matt ED, right there. Okay, so last year he was Charlotte, started 26th, finished 22nd. And I obviously have something in my calculation that's a little bit off in terms of the DraftKings scoring. I'll have to check that one out. Started 20th at Watkins Glen, finished 35th. Started 26th at the Chicago Street Course, finished 23rd. Sonoma started 36th, finished 21st. So that one definitely got him some 15 place differential points, 38 DK points in there. But it still wasn't, I don't think that was enough to get him in the optimal lineup. 29th, 31st at Portland. And then, yeah, those are his road course races. So he just hasn't really shown it on road courses. I don't see him getting the top 20 in this race. There's guys down here that I'm definitely a little bit higher on for sure. And first up, I guess, would be Ryan Sieg starting 38th. He's finished at least 25th here. As you can see, 25th, 11th, 23rd, and 14th at this track. He's got 8 top 20s and 14 road courses. So that's kind of what we're looking for from him at 6,800, starting 38th. And we'll go over here and we'll find him. So to get that 5x return, we need 34 points out of him. And to get that, we're really only looking for a 23rd place finish. To hit that 6x, he just needs to crack the top 20. He has cracked the top 22 of his last 3 trips here, and actually the top 15. So if he gets to that point where he gets up into the 15th, and it's going to be tough coming from 38th because it is very tough to pass. It's probably going to take at least the first 2 stages to crack the top 20. But if he does, and if he does make it there, if he gets into that range where he's finished 2 of the last 3 years, 14th and 11th, you're looking at like a 8x return from him. So there's a lot of upside with Sieg starting 38th, especially considering his 2 top 15s and 2 of his last 3 trips. Really like that one. Austin Green started 20th. He finished 7th here last year. He's got a top 5, 3 top 10s, and six races, which is the most. We got Josh Bilecki down there as well with 3 top 10s and 12 races. So those two are kind of your leaders in terms of top 10s at the road courses over the last 2 years, down in this sub 7,500, sub 8K range. So definitely like an Austin Green. I think he can probably crack. What was he doing in practice here? Let's just scroll over, have a quick look at his practice time. So he was 18th. So I think his floor is kind of like that 17th to 20th place finish. And with that 17th to 28th, or 17th to 20th, sorry, 29, 25, 29 points. So it's kind of like your 4x floor you're giving him. If he can get up into a top 15 spot, then we're looking at 5x. But ultimately, if we're rostering Austin Green here, we are looking for at least those 36 points. So we are looking for that top 15 finish, and a top 10 would give him a 6x. So if he jumps in and gives us that 6x, or gives us that top 10 finish like we seen last year, we're going to see him in that 6-7x range. So I think there is some upside there with Austin Green as well. Other guys, Harrison Burton, he doesn't. He's got a 6th here back in 2021. He hasn't had a road course in the Xfinity Series over the last 2 years. There's not a lot of data to go on here. Starting 31st is kind of the reason why I got him in there. 33rd, I would probably actually at this point of the day change him to a GPP play. I'd like Ryan Sieg a lot better. He showed more speed in practice. He's got 7 more place differential upside points. Even Austin Green, much better in practice. Anthony Alfredo starting 17th is going to be a little bit more risky. Starting 17th, only showed 19th in terms of practice speeds, and he only has 4 top 20s in 14 races. So there is some risk here, but he did finish. He's been consistent here at COTA, 12th, 16th, and 13th in the 3 races here. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is somewhere in the range of that 12th to 15th place finish to kind of make up for that $7,000 price tag that we got on him this week. Jesse Love, top 5. Yeah, definitely like that. He's number 1 in my overall model right now. He's starting 11th. He finished 6th here last year. He's got a top 5, 3 top 10s, and finished all 6 of his road course races over the last 2 years inside the top 20. So there's been some consistency there. His average run is 11.2, average finish 11.5. So he's ran a little bit better. And then he's given us in terms of those road course races some place differential upside. He doesn't have that upside today to give us those kind of points, but he has shown that. He's had a pretty solid start to the year as well. Both races, he's won one, and he's finished both of them inside the top 20. And the practice time, he was 2nd fastest lap in practice behind Zilich. Obviously, Zilich was way out in front, like I said, about a half second. But he's got a -9 in terms of qualifying practice differential there, which I really like to see. So I think he's got top 5 upside today. I think kind of his floor is like maybe an 8th to 10th, and I think a top 5 in terms of upside. And he's 8,200. So if he does get up there and give us that top 5 finish, 45 points, that's almost 6x return. So I definitely like that. I think he can maybe give us some fast laps in there as well. So yes, definitely Jesse Love is going to be one of my favorites. And I'm actually going to pull up some odds and see what I got in terms on my site. I look at CoolBet to look at some top 5, top 10 bet in there. Usually Coolbet only has the winners, which kind of sucks, but I'm going to see if I can get on to a DraftKings Sportsbook here as well and see what I can give for us. DraftKings. All right, and we will find I'll just bring this over here so that we can all see it. And see if we can find the Xfinity Series. Right there. All right, so Jesse Love plus 3,500 to win the race. Really, in terms of betting the outrights, I'm not really interested in betting the outright market today because Silich is minus 165, which is crazy for NASCAR. But that just goes to show you that that's the main reason why I like him so much for um, DraftKings and leading 20 to 30, maybe even upwards of 40 laps in the race. Is just he's just a heavy favorite to win here. But Jesse Love top three is plus 1,000 and top five is plus 425. So I'm definitely on board with you in terms of Jesse Love betting. He's probably one of my top bets in this race. And then some other guys that I like here. Um, Maybe some Nick Sanchez. Let's look at some practice time and kind of compare there and just kind of maybe have a look. Yeah, Nick Sanchez. He's the one I was looking at. I haven't highlighted yet. I haven't been sold completely on him yet, but he is starting 19th. He was fifth in practice. So he's someone I'm definitely going to be looking at. Maybe instead of Harrison Burton, or maybe in place, kind of maybe split those two. One kind of gives you better practice speeds, finish position, while Harrison Burton maybe gives you that place differential upside. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at that one. And then in terms of other bets here, let's look at maybe Austin Hill and see what he's given us on the board. So plus 2,200 to win, plus 600 for a top three. I definitely like both of those numbers as well. So I like top three, top five finishes from Jesse Love and Austin Hill. Love probably maybe a little bit more the top five, and Hill I kind of like doing that ladder bet where I'll go top five and a top three finish with him. And if you can find a top 10, maybe get that in there as well. I know there was only a few sites out there posting top 10 odds this week. So that kind of goes over some betting. It goes over some daily fantasy on DraftKings as well. So if you got any other questions, post them now. If you do miss that, put them in the comments of the video when it's over, or jump into our Discord. Hit me up in there leading up to the race, and I can help you build some lineups, post some bets, get on some prize picks. I'm going to post a couple of those as well if prize picks gets those updated as well. Other than that, thanks for tuning in to the I know it was short notice, but I appreciate you all coming in. And I'm going to be doing a Cup live show tomorrow morning, probably right around the same time. I will announce that. I'll put it in chat and I'll put it on Twitter as well so that everyone can get in and see that and get prepared for that. And we will talk about the COTA race, first road course race of the Cup Series tomorrow as well. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day and good luck, everyone.